Good morning, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your Wednesday wrap-up, and of course, we got Herb in the house. What's up, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Had random stuff going on in my ear. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? Are we? Oh no, just an extra tab open. So I'm off to a good start.
I feel like that is my brain all the time. It's like, where is that music coming from?
Yes. What is? Oh, okay. Got it. Not going crazy, at least not yet. Man, it's a beautiful morning. And you got some crazy stories on tap, so it's going to be interesting.
What's that?
I said you got some crazy stories on tap, so it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's early in the NFL season, so, you know, preseason is always the land of dumpster fires and guys saying dumb stuff and players getting benched and moved around. And at the same time, works great for shows like ours because it gives us a lot to talk about. Probably the first one we're going to do here is the what's happening when.
What's up, Win?
What's up, Zach?
National chocolate pecan pop. Okay. Did you bring us any, Zach? That's the real question. Like, do you have? No? Okay.
I mean, where are you at? I'm actually not a pecan pie fan, but my wife is. So she would like that for sure. So we'll start with the worst kept secret in Daniel Jones getting the start.
By opening, letting everyone know that Daniel Jones will be our starting quarterback this season. I thought the competition in training camp was great by both of those guys. I thought they both competed really hard, and it was good to see them cheering for each other and battling the way they did. And you guys heard me talk about the consistency, and that's really what I was looking for. And really the operation at the line of scrimmage, the checks, the protection, the ball placement, the completion percentage, I think all that played a factor in it.
Which, again, you knew Daniel Jones was going to be better in those areas, right? Because that's not something that Anthony Richardson was particularly great at in college.
Right.
Plus, he didn't play a lot. They didn't do much to help develop the kid. So you knew that it was going to kind of go this direction. But, man, people are mad about it.
Yeah. Well, they wasted a high draft pick. Basically, they got a guy who's already failed spectacularly somewhere else. I feel like the Colts did baddest job with Anthony Richardson as you can do. Anthony Richardson came to the job interview, and they were like, "What are you good?" I'm like, "I'm athletic. I have a really bad, completion percentage. I'm erratic at times." And, I haven't played much. And like, okay, let's sign this guy up. And then he gets out there and he does all the things he said in his interview.
Exactly.
And they're like, what? What is going on? I'm like, there were no lies told when you. Yeah. And then their solution has been, let's just drag him in and out of the lineup and see if that works. So I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like you said, you kind of knew this was headed this direction, but it's still just dumb. And with the Colts, I mean, there's opportunities in your division, and once you get your division, getting in the playoffs, anything can happen. But it just seems like you're wasting what was, a decent defense at times and a top 10, top 5 running back at times over a position that you haven't solved it. Daniel Jones is not going to solve your problems. I mean, he's not your long term either. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing, right? Is it's not like you got significantly better, right? Like you got a little better, and only because he's more consistent,
right?
Not like Daniel Jones has a better upside. Yeah. So, you're almost admitting that you can't develop a quarterback now.
Correct.
And so it's a very strange. It was a weird pickup. You knew Daniel Jones going there was going to win the job. And to your point, and we've said it multiple times, Anthony Richardson was overdrafted. Like he should not have been the 4th overall. Everything you saw from college, you knew that those short to intermediate passes were off target a lot. Obviously, a cannon of an arm, hyper athletic, which works if you have a team that's set up for something like that, which they're not. And so it just didn't make a lot of sense. Daniel Jones will ultimately be a better fit, but yeah, people are super mad that, this happened. I think the part of it that's very interesting is now, as much as he's like, oh yeah, they're cheering each other on and all of this, his agent comes out.
Yeah.
It's a little different feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it probably the biggest piece of that is trust is a big factor. At best, it's questionable right now. So now you have a lack of trust between Richardson, his agent, and the team. That doesn't say good things moving forward. Now, the fact that he lost a starting role to Daniel Jones means he may not still be on that team, in the near future anyway. But, if you haven't even started the season and you're already getting these types of things for a team that's not great, it sure doesn't sound like you can get a lot better.
Right. No, I agree. And to Richardson's credit, he came out and said all the right things.
Yes.
In the interview, right? So I'll give him credit for that. But no, the agent knows how he really feels, and it kind of goes to the other point. Now, I don't know what was said behind closed doors. I don't know what was promised because, like you said, when they brought in another guy, you felt like, okay, he's gonna win this job. I think it hurts more though, knowing that Daniel Jones was kind of like laughed out of Giants, and just kind of sat around for a year before coming to you. It's not like, this is a great quarterback that you pulled in, or even a great veteran quarterback that they're like, look, we're just going to bring in somebody to mentor you. This is somebody who is kind of like a lesser version of you, I guess, in certain areas, and then just a little more accurate, like you said. And you're thinking, this is the guy winning the job. I'm supposed to be the future. And now you've really just set your quarterback position back. So, no, but I get where the agent's coming from. His duty is to protect his player. And if I'm Richardson, I have no idea what the Colts are doing from week to week, from year to year. So, yeah, there's absolutely no trust there. So, this is where you kind of pat yourself on the back, because the way the Seahawks handled Jalen Milroe is how the Colts should have handled Anthony Richardson.
No question.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because this is where they messed up, right? Is when you heard that soundbite, he's talking about, completion percentage and all of those things and how much better they got, right? And so from the agent's side, right, he's like, Anthony came back and made the improvements in the areas he needed to improve. And by all accounts, he had a great camp, right? So basically, he came in and did everything they asked him to do.
Right.
And I think that's where the trust issue is it's like, look, I did all the things you want me to do. I showed the improvement in everywhere. What that doesn't say is, was Daniel Jones still better?
Right.
Right. And he very well could have been. Obviously, I wasn't in camp, so I don't know. But all indications make me think that was probably the case. Right. It's like, oh, yeah, I mean, you made strides in the right direction. It just wasn't enough is what I'm getting from it. But if you're the person that did those improvements and they're like, yeah, we're still going with this guy, I could see how you could feel some type of way about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So like, hey, I need you to pull up all your grades and we're giving you, a bigger allowance. Pull up all my grades. Wasn't enough. Sorry, we're not going with that. So I get where he's coming from. And my other thing about it is, obviously it's camp. I don't know all the stats or whatever. I'd love to see them in some more live game action. But if I think Anthony Richardson is my future, the numbers can't be close. It can't be like, oh, well, Daniel Jones was at 66 and Anthony Richardson at 63, so we're going with Daniel Jones. I need there to be a gap. All right, like Anthony Richardson was at 50% and Daniel Jones was at 60%. So that's why we're going. If it's close, I got to go with my future, especially if he's on the rise and bringing that up. So, no, I totally get where they're coming from, especially when that's the Colts are just, they're kind of bungling this whole thing like the Giants did. Sorry, shout out to Mr. U if he's out there watching, but it's just, I don't foresee a future where Anthony Richardson on this team. I don't get how that would happen or what that would look like or why he would want to. So,
Yeah, well, especially that last part.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know why you'd want to.
Yeah.
Like at this point, if again, we weren't in the room, so tough to say, but if you're getting told a story, kind of like the allowance thing, get your grades up, and they're like, well, you know what A- isn't? An A.
Hey.
So, you know, although it would actually be more like, well, we know that you brought all your grades up from a C to an A minus, but your sister had A's.
She's got an A.
So she gets your
Yes.
added 11.
She gets your allowance. Sorry.
Like, wait a minute. Speaking of guys not hitting percentages, this is a good segue though. We got Caleb Williams, and although people were saying, "Oh man, he had such a great game," and you know now he's going to be a world beater, just neglecting the fact that the Bills rolled out with their third stringers against all of the Bears ones. But you don't have to take our word for it. You can listen to their coach.
The 70% completions target for Caleb for the season, but also for practice. How often has he been hitting that? How is he doing on that for training camp?
I don't have the exact number, but we've been underneath that bar, which that happens. We're learning, we're growing. I think early on we were probably 55. It's gotten better as camp has gone on, but we haven't hit that threshold as often as we.
Oh, what happened? Oh, well, cut off a little bit early, I guess. Haven't hit it as often as they'd like, is what he said right there. And one thing to keep in mind is in practice and camp, you know what you're not allowed to do? Hit the quarterback. So your completion percentage should be pretty solid in a spot where you don't actually get hit. So, yeah, Caleb Williams, as far as completion percentage, still seems to be a bit of an issue. And I do fully expect that to get better. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a year that he has to show out, right?
Yeah.
They upgraded the offensive line. They do have weapons. They have a solid defense. Obviously, huge upgrades at the coaching position.
I was waiting for that one.
So he is that last puzzle piece, right? So did he have a decent game against the third stringers of the Bills? Sure. But it's preseason, and who cares? I mean, we watched the Lions go 4-0 in a preseason to go 0-16 during the year. So let's pump the brakes on all of a sudden he's a world beater because he went against some backups against another team. Let's calm down. I'm pretty sure all these same people said the same thing about Justin Fields when he had, 3 completions for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns, just neglecting the fact that it was like -1 air yards.
Right.
Oh, cool. Your receivers are super dynamic. So good job with that. And we'll talk about Justin Fields too, but I mean, I just don't get why people will see something in preseason and then just be like, oh, I'm going to just forget everything we've watched on this guy. And now he is the best quarterback to ever suit up. It's like, you guys are out of your minds. I get fan is short for fanatic, but damn.
Yeah. Well, a girl posted that on Twitter yesterday, talking about delusion. I said, sometimes as sports fans, delusion is all we have. So especially in the preseason, we will look at the Brown situation, which I know will come up later. We are latching on to everything that comes out there. And the other part of it is what you said there too. We don't get to see camp. Yeah. So the preseason is all we have. So the people are like, oh, Caleb Williams is great. And the coach comes out and says, he really wasn't. They're like, I didn't see it. Didn't happen. So exactly. I honestly think that's how most people are approaching it. Because it's like you said, everything they didn't do for Justin Fields, they've done for Caleb Williams. They have basically retooled everything and said, you have every opportunity to succeed here. So this is almost, especially with the division he's in, a make or break. Look, we got to see something from you this year, because if we don't, what can we improve next year to help you out? Like, we've already done the things, So,
well, and even if it doesn't necessarily equate to wins, You just need to see that growth. Because, I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, they are in the toughest division, right? Like this year, that division is still going to be a monster to try and get through, right? So I wouldn't even be mad if they were a, close to 500 team, right? Because, I mean, you're going to get beat up in your own division anyway. Right. So if they were close to a 500 team, but they lost in like acceptable ways, right? Like you're close and like just some things didn't quite fall your way or whatever, but he looks sharp going through it. You can live with that going into next year, right? But if you're losing those games because he isn't playing well, then you have some very real questions. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing is they don't necessarily have to go light the world on fire. Obviously they'd like to, especially Bears fans. They want to see him go out and kill it, but you don't have to do that and be happy with where you're headed, especially when you think of, the Lions are going to start losing people next year, right? Like you're going to have to start paying guys. And so that team's going to start to shed some players. The Vikings similarly are going to start to shed some players. And then, you have Green Bay coming up, but you're also coming up. Right. So you might see a shift within this division. So if this year isn't let's go light the world on fire, but it shows the elements that you could moving forward. Right. I think you should be happy with that. Now, obviously, if you're a Bears fan, you're like, no, we want to win today. And like, I get it.
Yeah. We all want to.
But right. You want your team to go and be awesome. But sometimes your team's just not quite ready. You're either you don't have the pieces, or in their case, you may just not have, the time invested in those players together yet. Right. So, I mean, it's not like a year that maybe isn't the best can't be exactly what you need moving forward.
Right. No, I agree. I think some things a lot of times we as fans overlook in pro sports is the long-term outlook of things. And I think too often you'll see a GM say, all right, we got to go for everything this year. Yeah. But honestly, 2 years from now is when you should be going for, situations like, I'm not saying the Bears is 2 years from now, but I agree 1,000% with you that it doesn't need to be this year. You're already seeing Detroit lose coaches. You combine coaches and players. That's where teams honestly start to fall apart. And you really don't know, the Vikings kind of have two timeline, breaking a new quarterback, but receivers who are a little more veteran and ready to, you know what I mean? It's just like they're still kind of mixing it up. So you could see that being an issue later on. But yeah, no, absolutely. You just need progress. And you need to know that Williams is the guy, and shoot, we're making judgments sooner and sooner these days, on top
of it. He just got off the bus. He's trash.
You're like, you know what I mean?
He fumbled his bag getting out.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's some game film on stuff like that too. Oh, right. Yep. No, couldn't walk, fucking chew gum. He's done. So, I absolutely agree.
And they do have some time, right? Because it's a new coach, right? So you're going to get a couple of years for them to build this thing anyway. So, it's I don't know. Like the Bears are gonna be good. Like they have a lot of nice pieces. It's just can Caleb get out of Caleb's way? Like that'll be the question, because he has the tools. I think it's just a like how to say this in it's a maturity thing. No, like it's a maturity thing, right? Like he does a lot of stuff that rubs people wrong even in their own locker room, right? And it seems like he's doing less of that this year than he did last year. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see if he gets a little bit more buy-in from teammates. And again, this is from outside the room. Obviously, I haven't talked to any of their players, but it was noticeable last year, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, you had guys that were talking to media that were like, yeah, what, basically alluding to like, what is this kid doing? Right.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard a lot of that from this off season for the Bears, which if you're a Bears fan, you got to love, right? Because anytime a team is noisy in the off season, you don't generally have a great year.
No, No. The best teams just come in, handle business, and go home. That's the thing. And I think for Williams, there's a lot of, I mean, let's be honest. He was a rock star. You know, he's in California, USC, you know, Heisman winning quarterback on one of the better teams, and probably overwhelmed a lot of their talent. There wasn't, I don't want to question his stuff off the like I said, I don't have eyes on, but you would get the sense that there was like a lot of my natural ability will take over, and my team has great players here, so I can run around for 5 seconds and throw it to this guy, and we'll have a great play, and everybody will love me. And now in the NFL, it's kind of like, all right, we need you to like kind of lock in more. You know, that was fun in college. Now it's a job, and it's like, oh. And I think sometimes you see a lot of the bigger stars have there's a little adjustment period because you're like, oh, everybody doesn't love me anymore. There's a lot of like, a little bit more booing and a little bit more expectations when you get to the NFL. So
well, and
I think there's an adjustment period.
Your competition is significantly better too.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
and that's something we've said on here before too. It's like, okay, you go from having a defense, not necessarily a defense, but another team that has, 3 to 5 NFL dudes to 53 All-Americans. It's like, okay, that hits a little different.
Yeah. I say it all the time. That guy that you're calling a bum, who's the third linebacker off the bench, like you just said, was an All-American somewhere, an all defensive player. That guy, like I remember, what was it, several years, the defensive SEC defensive player of the year, like didn't even get drafted. You know what I mean? Like it is a different beast in the NFL. And those passes and those runs that you got away with, no, even against, and that's why sometimes I guess they get excited about preseason. Well, okay, some of those guys aren't going to make the team, but the second string on a lot of NFL guys are still fast guys. They might not be the best, but they'll still hawk you down in a one-on-one moment. You're like, but you're a bum. Yeah, but I'm an NFL bum. There's a difference.
Yeah. I'm still the 1% of the 1%.
Yes.
Let's calm down. No, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that is one thing that's funny that as analysts sometimes you overlook. Also, you're like, oh man, this guy gets beat by a double move all the time. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's getting beat by a double move from Devontae Adams. You're like,
right.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. It's not like I'm beating. Like if I go and beat him on a double move, yeah, that guy's coming off the field. But he'd probably walk and catch me. Like I'm like, I got him. He's like, nah, but I'm right here, sipping my coffee. Still got you locked down. But anytime you're on the internet, somebody calling somebody else a bum is always the guy eating Cheetos and
no way.
He's sitting on the couch. This guy sucks. Like, oh, okay.
He cost me $30 on my parlay.
Yep.
Yeah. I drafted him first and he's hurt. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. It's always funny, but this really does seem like the year where he has to produce, which is it's unfortunate for him because he is getting all new coaching staff, which obviously makes it harder. But because all the pieces are around him and he was touted as a generational talent, they want you to show out immediately. Right. And so I think if he doesn't have a great year with what's around him and the coaching and all of that, that's where the narrative around him will get real negative.
Yeah.
Plus it's Chicago.
Especially with the quarterback. Yeah. And with the quarterback class coming out, depending on how bad this is, you could kind of see them taking a look. Because, I think what you have to evaluate then is, all right, what's coming out in this quarterback class and what's coming out in next quarterback class? And do we actually have to, is there somebody we like a year from now that we think, all right, Caleb, you're going to get one more year? Or are they honestly like, I don't know. And I would have thought maybe like 5 years ago, that was a ridiculous thing to say. Nowadays, I'm like, we're punting on top picks left and right now, So
well, and then you also end up with scenarios where Russell Wilson's going to be looking for another team again.
Yep.
He could probably actually work that offense relatively well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That'll be interesting. So let's do this one. This one's been time-wise.
You need a really short one right here.
Yeah, right. Actually, you know what? I know what we'll do right here. Because we are only, a week out from week 1. So if you haven't joined our Pick'em Championship, now is that time, right? Because once week 1 kicks off, you can miss a week and still win, but it gets significantly harder. So, and the only reason I say you can miss a week and still win is for whatever reason during the year, a lot of players end up missing a week accidentally. Like they forget to lock in their picks or whatever, or you just have a week like I did in like week 3 last year where everything I picked was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
like
Can I ask what?
It was all of the upsets that week. I was just like, how? I mean,
teams playing their third string quarterback or beating the Giants. You're like, what? Just
oh man, it was rough. I think it was like a 3-13 week in like week 3 for me. I was just like, wow, okay. Apparently, I forgot.
Your way of trying to prove you didn't rig it.
Oh man, it was.
Can I ask
was
what
brutal.
idiots are missing weeks of their picks? What idiots? Oh wait, I did that last year.
Man, I run the show and I almost did last year. I literally have a Pick'em broadcast each week showing my picks, and I'm showing my picks. You know what I didn't do was save, and I'm literally rolling the credits, noticing that I didn't save. I was like, oh, that's a real problem.
That's funny.
So just one thing to definitely keep track of, because, you know, that can get you out of the money real quick. But yeah, use the QR code on the screen. Join the championship. It's $10 to get in. The first top 5 all are money winning spots. So come play with us. It's always fun.
I'm excited for football to start. I'm even excited for week 0 this weekend. I will be watching college football just because. So,
yep. Yeah,
so
well, and we have a fun college football topic too. So,
oh gosh,
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
yes.
we got to talk about we do got to talk about the Browns, which is what we'll do after we let our radio audience go right here. If you're listening on 97.3 ICU radio, we got smooth jazz for you coming up next. But if you are sticking with us on YouTube, and of course, the radio audience, if you want to see us on YouTube, it's at football-talk. But if you are sticking with us, we're going to talk about the Browns and their never-ending quarterback saga. We're going to talk a little bit about Auburn football and them claiming 4 titles. Going back and claiming titles is wild business to me, especially the last one they want. Stick around for that. So, all right. First things first, let's talk about the Browns here since we're still on the NFL. And we got Dillon Gabriel, West Coast Wins, favorite player here.
Yep.
Coming out saying something dumb. And the thing that's funny is the media immediately tried to spin it into something that he didn't necessarily mean it as, although he didn't provide adequate context in the moment. And so I could see how people could get there. That being said, and he's not even wrong, but it's a terrible soundbite.
Yes.
So here we go.
You don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home?
Yeah, I think it's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but you know, it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work. That's all we want to do. You know, all you in this room are entertainers, and you have a job to do, and I respect it. Right. And I'm a competitor, so I have a job to do as well. And I think, you know, just understanding that, that's how I've lived by, and I've said that multiple times. So definitely not a new quote, but something that I've definitely said before. Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
So the thing is, And it's funny because Stephen A. lost his mind on this. He's like, we're all competitors. We're competing in our fields. And yes, you're not wrong. That's true. But at the same time, he's also not wrong that the media is entertainers, right? Like if you're not writing or creating content like this, you're like on TV, on podcasts, whatever, if it's not engaging and entertaining, nobody's watching your stuff, right? Like you are entertainers. If you were just writing the facts, that would be the most dry stuff out there. Nobody would even look at it. So when people are losing their minds that, no, I'm a journalist, I'm not an entertainer. It's like, well, you better be an entertainer. You're not going to be a journalist very long, right?
Right. Yeah. Stephen A. He was a journalist for a long time. He didn't get famous until he was an entertainer. So let's he can't pretend that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you're not an entertainer and you're a journalist, no one's going to know who you are because nobody's going to want to read your stuff. Basically, someone that is an entertainer is going to take your information and then make it easy to consume.
Yes.
Right. Like that's what you are as a camera facing person, is a salesman. You are selling the knowledge that you have acquired from whatever it is you're doing. So you have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it. I don't know why people are losing their minds when he's like, oh, media is entertainers. Now, the media that immediately spun it into, he's talking about Shedeur, that got every Shedeur fan to lose their minds.
Man, yes.
Even the clip that I just ran, that's a YouTube short, reel, whatever you want to call it, right? They couldn't stay engaged for the full 60 seconds where it gives you the context at the end that says, yes, I was talking about the media. Right? They're like, this guy sucks and he's a bum. And I'm just like, you can't make it 60 seconds.
Right. Yeah. And I actually read a good article about that where somebody was breaking it down. And it kind of goes towards the media is entertainers when you're taking it and breaking it down and being, all first off, unless you're, Shedeur's family, or actually in the media, like I don't get where half of you even care about this soundbite, right? But no, it's that same thing. The article said the same thing. They're taking this, they're running with it, they're going for it. Stephen A. is a goof, but he has sold himself very well. So I'm envious of the money he makes, but not.
Oh, no question. I mean, if there was ever two guys that capitalized on just irritating people, it's Stephen A. and Skip Bayless.
Yes.
Right.
Sad that those are the first two names that.
I mean, yeah, like all they do is come out with takes that make people mad.
Yes. Yes.
And basically, they both built careers on rage baiting fan bases.
Yep. Yeah. If we could just start a show and I can come out every week and insult somebody and then start yelling at you and we could make millions.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. I don't know that I can sustain it for a whole hour. And I think that's the thing. So I think somewhere halfway through, I'd go, this ain't me, Bo. I don't yell in my real life.
I wouldn't be able to stop from laughing because I can't I can't throw out that I'm that mad about any topic because I don't care. Right? Like sports is entertainment. And that's the part that I find funny because he's like, I'm a competitor. It's like, well, you're also an entertainer too. Yes. Right. So it's, I don't know. I can't be that angry all the time. Too nice to be mean. Yeah. Well, again, I guess we're not that invested in it. I mean, they have years.
You see me when I get upset. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, they have years of building that persona, that fakeness. It's just not something I believe in.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine. Imagine for Stephen A. that isn't a persona and he's just like that. Right? There's no way that you're at dinner with this guy and he's just doing this at the table. We would never hang out. Right?
No.
I'd just be like,
no.
Dude, no. Like,
it's just a Cobb salad. I asked for a Caesar salad. I'm like, whoa, we're no, you know what? Just bring him a check. We're
in
good.
fact, bring him the check.
Yes. I mean, you're absolutely right, though. in my own life, I don't yell.
Yeah.
And, because I'm a silly person, when I'm mad, you can tell I'm mad. But it's like this, but it's not. I can't summon that up every day. I don't have the energy to bring that, level of excitement to every single topic. I just can't do it. And like you said, especially for sports, if I'm getting to the point where sports is that serious and I'm not enjoying it, then I need to find another hobby, something else to watch.
Oh, for sure.
Otherwise, this makes no sense. So, yeah. It's like, you already mentioned it, Shador, right? And that's the reason why Dillon Gabriel's thing kind of went viral. Because first it was like, oh, is this Shador? Oh, now it's the media. But if Shador wasn't on that team, you don't even care about that quote and nothing even happens. Like, I don't wish bad for Shador. I just don't, I'm not invested either way. If he got cut tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, man, Browns are kind of dumb. And then that'd be it for me. I would be, I wouldn't sweat it. So there's people who are really, really wound up.
The only reason this is even a story is because the media turned it into something crazy. Because, otherwise, okay, you're calling us entertainers. Yeah. You're not wrong. Like, it's literally what we do.
Yeah. The non-entertaining media, it's like you said, don't get on TV. You get your shows canceled. You're out. Like, that's it. If it wasn't meant to be entertaining, they would throw the ugliest people on TV and it'd be like, here you go, whatever. There's a reason why you all have makeup crews and nice suits and you want a good presentation. And there's a reason why every crew has that one guy who just says the dumbest stuff. I don't think Michael Jordan was a top 5 player ever. Like,
man, yeah.
That's why they bring those people
who don't know who that is, I'm sure that was Perk.
That's the only reason why that man is on TV. He is terrible, but he's entertaining and he's going to keep his job.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing, Win, is like and we say this about people that their team loses and it like ruins their life for a week. Like I can't get that invested. Like I love my teams, right? Yeah. But if they win, they lose. I'm not trying to get in fights. They're not going to destroy my whole life. Like, I'm not on their payroll.
No.
Them winning or losing, it's like, oh yeah, I want them to win because they're my team and whatever. But if they don't, it's like, cool, my mortgage is still due, like, at the beginning of the month. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to go on some drunken bender and have to call into work for a few days. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird, and maybe I don't enjoy things the same way that other people do, right? Because I don't get the high highs and the low lows. I'm just like, oh yeah, that sucks or whatever. So maybe I don't get some of the highest euphoria when your team does win or whatever, because I just don't get that invested. But
and I feel like I'm superly invested in my team. No, that's why I said no. That was the point I wanted to make next. So there's too many people who've done that.
Like I could get you being freaked out, but generally, if you're that mad when you're betting money, it's because you bet money you shouldn't have been betting, right? So if you're gonna bet smart, right? Yes. Like it's.
And can I also say
you
this?
Can't bet smart. Call that 1-800 number.
Dude, that was me about 10 years ago. So I totally, it was, I lost a lot. So if you can't afford to do it, don't do it. Also, stop betting on your own team, because then when they lose, you're doubly mad, and that really sends you through the roof. So,
yeah. Well, and I don't bet either, which is funny because my Pick'em show is brought to you by BetUS. But
I got a special message too, since we're talking about because my Raj broke a phone one time after a game, and that's when he realized, all right, can't get this mad anymore. But since we're talking about him, I'm gonna say, hey, Bo misses you. All right, there we go.
Yeah, where is he at?
But no, I don't get that. And I told you, we've talked about it several times. I always get the text after a loss. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, I'm about to watch the next game. That's all I'm like.
That's the way I look at it. Like even when I'm thinking of like the Storm, right? I'm more invested because I'm there, right? And even still, it's like I want to see them make it to the playoffs, but they're not playing playoff caliber basketball at the moment. So you're just like,
Right.
well, I mean, I don't know.
What
You guys need to play better. Like,
Yeah. There's nothing me getting mad is gonna do anymore. Like I do my part. I watch your games. I change my clothes when you guys are doing bad. That's all I got for you, fellas. Like,
yeah,
can't help anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always find it interesting when people take it to that level, and those are the same people that are, fighting fellow fans at the stadiums, and it's just like, man, this is just, it's not that deep. It's sports. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
No, at all.
So we are going to talk a little college football, and we have very little. But it is a funny story that makes no sense. So Auburn is, appreciate that, TJ.
What's up, TJ?
Auburn is claiming 4 more national titles. Right? They've for a long time said they have 5 national titles. Now they're going to say they have 9. Right?
Yeah.
And 3 of the 4, you're like, okay, right? 1910, 1914, 1958, right? Those were all voting style years. They had a record that basically tied the national title, winner, basically. And being a Husky fan, where we had a national title shared with Miami, like, I get it, right? Like, it's goofy. There was nothing that obviously before you get here, geez.
I guess it changes every day, Raj. It changes every day. Yeah, just depends on like the lunar cycle and things like that.
So this is the one I find hilarious. So 2004.
Yes.
That's one they're going to try and claim.
Yeah.
That was in the BCS era.
Yep.
They were not in the national championship game. Now, there was 3 undefeated teams. They weren't selected to be in it. I get where you would be mad that you didn't get your shot. But that would be like Florida State saying they're shared national champions from last year.
Right.
Like, well, we just didn't, or the year before, rather. We just didn't get a shot. It's like, well, yeah, that's
not how this works.
That's right? Like, yeah, you didn't get a shot, and that sucks. But at the same time, it is what it is. Like, so it's the first 3, I can even kind of roll with it, be like, it was just sort of the stupid voting thing. And the fact that they didn't share it is weird because through the course of history, they shared titles a bunch of times, right? But the BCS one's like, oh, well, there's actually a championship game, right? And just because you had the same record, didn't get a play in it, doesn't mean that you somehow would have won that game.
Right.
Right. I'm like, we don't know. That's why you play the game. So,
and there's an actual trophy for that. So for you to claim it, I feel like you should have to go steal the trophy to get part of this recognition.
Now that I'd watch. It's like capture the flag. Let's go.
Yes. Otherwise, I promise you, but when this story came out yesterday, we got asked about it last night on our show. And I said, what's up, Raj? Love you, bro. I said, I didn't click on it. I didn't read it because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like a way to kind of sound, stay relevant. Because what does it actually change? Nothing. Except your merchandise, maybe. And then half the people, use it to take shots at Alabama. Well, Alabama. And I was like, look, Raj and I became fans in '94. We got to see all of the Saban era championships. You can't dispute that. And most of these teams that are arguing don't have more than what Saban won while he was here. So those were great. Those are all undisputed, whatever, unless you're, Central Florida and you want to claim that one where you didn't get a chance. Other than that, people talking about 1950s and 1960s era football. I'm like, I can't believe you guys put up with a system that people just voted at the end when you have a chance to have results on the field, but you wanted to keep everything so separate that certain teams didn't play at the end of the year. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and that was something that made me mad about D1 forever, right? And it's something that I appreciated about Mike Leach when he was still with Wazoo. It's just like playoffs work in every other level of football. The fact that D1 couldn't figure it out, which is hilarious because D2, every time they're like, well, it just doesn't work in the college level. It's like, well, that's funny because D2, I am pretty sure was college.
Yes.
And you know what they
pretty
had?
Sure.
They had a playoff. It's crazy. So, I mean, it worked from Pee Wee to the pros, and you're telling me that somehow D1 couldn't figure it out. Like, you guys are full of it. So the fact that we finally have it is awesome. But when you look back to situations like this, where titles are subjective and voting, and they weren't even voted on by necessarily football people, right? Like, you had these multiple polls, and then they kind of combine the results to award a trophy. Is like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It is. Because everybody on this coast voted for that team that they saw all the time.
Yeah.
And this coast voted for this team that they saw all the time in person. They're like, I never watched USC, but I watched Alabama every game. Roll Tide. So we're theoretically, before video games, trying to put these two together, simulate and say, you know what? I think Alabama would have won that one, voting for him. I'm like,
well, especially when you think back to then, when a lot of those you wouldn't have seen because you just couldn't see it, right?
Yep.
You're talking about an era that had 3 channels on the TV.
There I grew up
You're waiting for a beat writer from California to have their newspaper arrive over by you to see how a team did. It's just like, that's not. I don't know.
No.
It's ridiculous.
And nobody ever thought, hey man, we got 2 undefeated teams. You guys think they should play? And everybody's like, that's crazy. Let's just vote on it. Like, really?
Because
this is
like,
what you guys.
It's not like cars didn't exist, right? Like, you could have. Buses were around then.
Yes. It's all right. You're on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast. We're gonna meet somewhere in the middle and have a game. Like, that's the most basic thing that I can imagine. So.
And why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah. And the first time you did that, you would have realized we can make some money on this thing. And so,
because that would have been on one of those 3 TV stations.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So we do have a couple of WNBA topics. One of them is Sue Bird gets a statue here in Seattle. I missed it because I got COVID. I guess that's the one thing nice about doing this is I don't have to be in the same studio with anybody. So even though I still have it, nobody cares. So, oh, my bad. What's happening, Chad?
What's up, Chad?
But yeah, so it was cool. Obviously I had to watch it from afar, but pretty neat that, she gets a statue. She's the first WNBA player to get one. Obviously her, accomplishments are off the charts, but another writer friend of mine asked a really good question in the press conference. I guess wasn't really a question, but more of a, it was kind of a question too, but saying that Sue Bird is in some very rare air. And so here's that soundbite.
You're joining Dirk Nowitzki and Kobe Bryant as the only ones to spend 20 years with one franchise and then follow it with a statue being built. What does it mean to be amongst that basketball royalty, but also basketball loyalty?
Wow, yeah, I didn't know that. So it's just the 3 of us?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, the royalty part is incredible. I mean, those are names anytime you're amongst players like that, what they did in their careers, the winning, how they did it, that's really, really special. But I think the loyalty might stick out more than anything. And it's not, I like when I have this conversation, it's not to pat yourself on the back for the loyalty. It's just that it is rare at times. that's not always players' fault. Sometimes things happen, they have to leave. Sometimes it doesn't work out, they have to move on. So that's why I don't want to like pat myself on the back for the loyalty. But at the same time, I look back on it now, and it is really special to have played in one place. It does mean something different for me to come back to this city, to come to games. There's just a different connection I have because I only played here. And so that to me is what's really special. I think it goes beyond basketball, the impact you have on communities. Same with Dirk, same with Kobe. So yes, it is the royalty aspect, but the loyalty I think even means more to me.
You know, it's a small fun fact about that too, though. I think she's the only one of those three to get drafted to the team she played for too, as well.
Yeah, I guess never really thought of that.
Yeah, it's a stupid fact, but like Kobe was actually drafted, I think, by the Hornets, and Dirk, I think, by the Bucks. They were both traded though for Vlade Divac and I think Tractor Trailer. So they just never, reached the court for that. It was draft day trades, but stupid. But sorry, it's just the way my mind works.
No, like that's funny. I forgot that they weren't drafted by their teams. Because you never saw them play anywhere else, right? So you're just like,
So you're always going to think, they did that. But, man, but I don't want to take away from Sue Bird. That absolutely, well-deserved, right? And the points about it for, I don't want to pat myself on the back for loyalty. I mean, you should, especially in this day and age. I think it's something to look at, especially with the way player movement is and the way, let's be honest, organizations are cutting players and trading players left and right. That's amazing.
It's that last part too, right? Well, and she even alluded to that.
Yeah, it's not always the players.
It's not on the players.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ask Luka about that. Sometimes you just wake up and you're on another team. So, but absolutely, man, the fact that she was there, one of the pioneers really of the WNBA, man, a great player, a great ambassador for the sport on and off the court. You never heard of trouble from her. Just great, solid play. I mean, there's a person you could have built a statue out of UConn and WNBA and justify both. And it's just been a great career, man. Well deserved, man. I'm happy for her.
Absolutely. And one other WNBA is Sophie Cunningham out for the rest of the year, MCL. Which team do you think it is that took her out? The one that I've said numerous times is the dirtiest team in the league strikes again. Connecticut Sun.
Yeah.
And
is that their only point out here right now?
just go out. They're just goons. They're just out there hurting people. Excuse me. Yeah, no, it's I don't know how the league isn't taking a deeper look at the Sun here. I think, it's a bummer that she's out. Now, the fact that the Sun went after her a little bit isn't a big shock, right? Because the last time they met, they knocked Caitlin Clark to the ground. Sophie wraps one around the head and throws her to the ground. So, I mean, you knew there was going to be some retaliation like that. That was probably going to happen regardless of the team. It's just interesting that every time you see some really dirty play, there's an orange jersey involved in it. Yeah. And we can't be the only people seeing this. I feel like the league probably should see some of their own film. If they don't, maybe check out a game or two.
Well, if it's not one of their stars, they're not looking at these games. It feels like I don't know. They let the UConn Sun kind of get away with bodying Caitlin Clark, so I don't have a whole lot of faith in them, right?
Well,
but as a team,
and I got to see them firsthand here in Seattle do the same thing to the Storm players. So it's not like they're selective. It's not like they're like, oh, we have to go after Caitlin Clark. It's like, no, like they literally have dirty plays against every team they play.
Yeah. But I think it's the lack of star power maybe on their team because, they had that Kelsey Plum trip and I saw highlights of that everywhere and posts and kick her out. But like you said, with the Sun, it's because most people can't name, 90% of the people on their team. We're like, we don't care. They're a terrible team. They're just scrappy and we let it go. That's what it feels like from the outside because otherwise all you're doing is damaging the rest of your product and making it look terrible. So
and you're
not a team
losing,
that should be out there.
You're losing people that do have some star power.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, that's the thing that you would think the WNBA would want to step in for. Be like, look, we're going to start teeing the Sun up. And you're not wrong. Like they're not a great team. They're the worst team in the league. Not a lot of star power. They're just trying to get through the year, basically.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't have them out there just beating other teams up. Like it looks bad. And if you're a casual fan and you're watching that, you're like, this isn't a good product, right?
No.
And you can't do that when you're still trying to grow. You can't come out and have games that don't look pro, right? Like when you got people out there playing, like giving you rec basketball style fouls.
Yeah.
It's not a great look, right? And I mean, not to say that other teams don't end up with, some fouls, maybe some dirty plays here and there. But when you have a team that's consistent about doing it, I feel like that's where the league has to step in, because then you end up with things like Cunningham getting hurt.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you, right? Like they want the fever in the playoffs.
Because they want to Dillon Clark being back out there.
Yeah.
But also, Sophie Cunningham is like arguably become top 10, top 5 in popularity this season. She did it. Let's just be honest. She rode the Caitlin Clark wave, hopped in right here, and then skyrocketed. But
what really thrust her forward was throwing one of the Sun on the ground, which is why I say that retaliation was going to come.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it seems like the league needed to be ready for that, right? Yeah. It's kind of like in baseball. If there's a rivalry going on, they warn the clubs, like, look, if you throw at someone, we're throwing you out, right?
Yes. You don't have to hit them if it goes anywhere near them.
Exactly. Right? Like if you just buzz them, it's like, you're out of here, right?
You're gone.
And so this is a conversation that probably should have happened before this game. They're like, look, we cannot have this. This is a bad look for our league. We're warning you right now, both benches right now. If you're doing any of this, you're gone. It's how that should have went. I mean, it works in baseball. They do it in football. They'll walk up to guys that are doing stuff and they're like, look, if we see any of this, you're out of here. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. We'll see what happens moving forward. Yeah. That being said,
one thing real quick, the WNBA players and everybody have been really upset at the refs and the officials and everything. So this just kind of goes forward with it. So appreciate it, man.
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, stay tuned for the next 30 seconds where we kick off our next show, coast to coast at the new time. Same great show. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Take it easy, everybody.